Hi everybody, it's Crystal. Welcome to my channel, Bagoday Crochet, where you will find anything and everything that has to do with yarn and crochet. So if you are new to my channel, please don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any of my videos. And if you look below in the description box, the very first thing, you'll see a link, and it'll take you to a playlist of all my tutorials, hundreds and hundreds, all free for you to enjoy. I have anything that you could ever want to make and multiples of them. And if you are a returning friend of mine, thank you very much for returning. And if everybody could hit that like button, I'd really appreciate it, and leave me a comment below. Let me know what you think. All right. So today I'm going to do a stitch tutorial. I am going, this stitch is actually, it's super easy. If you know how to half double crochet, you got this, because all this is a half double crochet, but it's done in a different, just a little bit different, but it's still a half double, and it's a 1-row repeat. You can't beat a 1-row repeat. So this is the zipper stitch. Isn't it cool? It's really cool, and it's a nice solid stitch, and it is the same on both sides, and that's always good. This stitch would work well for anything that you wanted it to be. It's a nice solid, it's a solid stitch. So I think it would work well for wash rags, placemats, of course blankets. You know, probably want to use a little bit bigger of a stitch so it's not so stiff, or bigger of a hook so it's not so stiff. But really anything that you want, scarves, anything like that. But it's really cool. Do you guys want to go ahead and get started? Let's do it. All right. All right, for the purpose of this stitch tutorial, I'm using a Red Heart Super Saver Ombre, which is a 100% acrylic, medium weight number 4, and the color I have here is called Jazzy. And then I'm also going to be using a size J, which is a 6mm crochet hook. So the zipper stitch is done in any number of chains. So there is no certain multiple for this stitch. So as always, you start off with a slip knot on your hook. Now, depending on what you're making, you can chain in any number of stitches. So if you're making a scarf, you chain for however many inches you want your scarf to be widthwise. Or lengthwise, I guess, either way you want to do it. If you're making a blanket, you chain however long you want your blanket to be. But I'm going to show you on a little bit smaller of a scale here. I do want to apologize. I do have allergies today, really bad. All right. So once you get your chain in whatever number, remember there is no certain multiple. What we're going to do is we are going to do a half double crochet in the third chain from our hook. So we don't count this one that's on our hook. 1, 2, and the third one we half double. That's where we yarn over, go into the stitch, drop a loop. You'll have 3 loops on your hook. We're going to yarn over and go through all 3. Now I'm going to show you how to do the zipper stitch, or the zipper half double, whatever you want to call it, I guess. So what we're going to do, you see this half double crochet that we just did, we're going to be working in this, but we're going to go through this bottom loop. So take your hook and go through that bottom loop like that, and then we go into the next stitch like that, and then we draw up a loop. See that? And we have 3 loops on our hook. Now we're going to yarn over and go through all 3 loops. So I guess it's kind of like a half double. Kind of. Anyways, we're going to do that again. So we got these, you see these 3 loops here, 1, 2, 3. We always go through that bottom loop. So we go through it like that. And then we go into the next stitch like this. And then we draw up a loop. And we have 3 loops on our hook, and we're going to yarn over and go through all 3, just like that. And this is what we're going to do all the way to the end of the row. Again, we got 3 loops here from the previous stitch. 1, 2, 3. Go through that last loop. So put that last loop on your hook like that. And then we go directly into the next stitch, draw up a loop. We have 3 loops on our hook, yarn over and go through all 3, just like that. And we're going to keep doing this until we get to the end of our row. I guess it's more like a different way of doing a single crochet 2 together. I don't know. I just call it the zipper stitch. How about that? We'll just call it the zipper stitch. Remember, we're going through that, the stitch before, the stitch that you just do has 3 loops. Go through that bottom loop. Put that one on your hook. Of course, I can't do it because I'm on camera and I'm nervous. No, then you go into the next stitch, draw up a loop, and yarn over and go through all 3. And you will build it. Don't do it extremely tight though, or you will have trouble getting that last loop on your hook. So just kind of keep it, you know, kind of loose. And we're going to do this until we get to the last stitch of our row, and I'll be back up with you. It actually starts to go by really fast. Okay. Alright, so I've made it here and I have 1 stitch that remains. So I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing into that last stitch. So I'm going to go into, here's the stitch I just did, so I'm going to grab that last loop and put it on my hook. And then I'm going to go into the last stitch here, draw up, and then yarn over and go through all 3 loops, just like that. So that ends round 1. Now we're going to start round 2, which is the row 2, which is the repeat row. We're going to repeat row 2. So we're going to chain 1 and turn our work. So that chain 1 does not count as a stitch. Okay, it doesn't count as anything. Now let's take a look at here what we have here. So we make sure that we go in the right spots. So as you can see, we have a very prominent ridge loop here in the front. Now if you twist your work, you'll see there's 2 loops in the back. Those are the 2 loops that we want to go in, and we want to keep this ridge in the front visible because that's what creates that ridge that you see. All right. So we're going to go ahead and yarn over, and we're going to do a half double crochet into the first stitch. So we're going to yarn over, and we want to remember, when you flip your work like this, you see this 2 loops here. That's what you want to go through. We don't want to mess with this front loop. So we want to go into the first stitch here, grab those 2 loops, see them on my hook there, and do a half double crochet like that. Now we're going to start the little zipper stitch again. So we're going to grab the 3rd loop from this stitch right here, 1, 2, 3, put it on our hook, and then we're going to go into these 2 loops. If you twist your work, you'll see them right here. Put those on your hook like that, draw up a loop, 3 loops on your hook, yarn over and go through all 3. Remember, you don't want to keep it real tight. Again, you see you got 3 loops, 1, 2, 3 from your stitch before. Grab that bottom loop and put it on your hook, and then we're going to go through these 2 loops back here and leave this one in the front unworked. So go through those 2 loops, draw up a loop, yarn over and go through all 3, just like that. Again, grab that bottom loop of that previous, or the stitch that we just did, and then in the next spot we go through these 2 loops here in the back, leave this one alone, it's really not hard, I'm just making it look harder than what it is. Just like that. And then again, grab that bottom loop from that previous stitch and go right here and grab those 2 loops there, pull up a loop, yarn over and go through all 3, and you can see that it's creating that ridge in the front because we're leaving that front loop alone. So again, go into the bottom loop of the stitch that we just did, and then the 2 loops here on the top. Drop a loop, yarn over, and go through all 3. And like I said, it starts to work up really quick once you get to going. Just remember though, just to keep it kind of loose. It's important to keep it a little bit loose, otherwise it gets pretty tight. It makes it hard to get in this bottom loop. And you want to do this until we get to the last stitch of our row. See that? Looking good. All right, I'll see you at the last stitch. All right, I'm coming to the last stitch of the row. So here's my last stitch. And if you remember in the beginning, we did a half double crochet in the 3rd chain from the hook. And here's the 2 chains from that. We're going to ignore those and pretend like they're not there. All right, so we're going to go ahead and finish up like we did on the previous row. So here's the stitch I just did. Go into that last one, into that last loop. And then the last stitch, just like we've been doing the other ones. And yarn over and go through all 3. There we go. That is how you end row 2. And that's how you do the whole pattern. You just keep repeating row 2. So again, we're going to chain 1 and turn our work. For row 3, we're going to repeat what we just did on row 2. So we're going to half double into the first stitch, but remember we leave this first loop alone. If you flip your work back a bit, you'll see that the 2 loops that you need to go through for this row, just like the previous row. So again, you half double into the first stitch, but you go through those 2 loops back there in the back. And then we start our little zipper stitch thing. So here's our half double. We go through that last loop of the half double, and then we leave the first loop alone, and we go through these 2 back here. Draw up and yarn over and go through all 3. Again, go through that last loop, leave the front loop alone, go through this loop and the one behind it, like that. Draw up a loop and yarn over and go through all 3. And repeat again, go through that last loop, and then leave that front loop alone and go through the 2 other loops on top. Draw up a loop and yarn over and go through all 3. And we're going to repeat this to the end. It's the same thing that we did on the previous row. So we just keep repeating row 2 until you get to your desired length or width, or depending on what project you're making, till you get to your desired size. How about that? See, after a while you get to go in and be real fast. And if you look now on the other side, you'll see that it's starting to form what looks like a little zipper here. I'll show you here on my other piece. Right here, between the ridges, kind of looks like the zipper, because these are slanted. That's it. I think it's cool. I hope that you do too. See the sides are nice and straight. It's a nice stitch. Nice solid stitch. So I hope you enjoyed my tutorial, and I hope that you were able to follow along okay. And now remember, if you make this, whatever you make out of it, you can always show me a picture on my Bagoday Crochet Facebook page or on Instagram. I'll put links to those below in the description box. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button, a thumbs up button, leave me a comment, let me know what you would make with this, or what you are going to make with this, if you decide to. And that's it. Check out all my other tutorials. Link to that also in the description box. And I'll see you guys on my next video, alright? Take care. Bye, guys.